Transcendental Thursday. This is Cordelia Gaffar, and today I want to share with you my story about how to transcend. This live is dedicated to the Institute of Authentic Tantra, and as some of you who have been following me for a while, you may be aware that I'm currently in the Authentic Tibetan Tantra Certification Program, and I'm headed to Mexico in a few weeks for my first embodiment retreat, and I'll be continuing with the institute to get my PhD in holistic sexual healing. But why, right? Like last June on the Free to Be show, on my last episode, you saw me essentially disrobe, right? I took off my hijab. And here I am this year talking about Tantra. So, what's all that about? As it turns out, at the end of 2021, a few months after my divorce was official, right? So I was married for 20 years, have 6 kids. And once my divorce was official, I, for those of you who have been divorced, there's a thing that happens within you. And you realize that you got what you wanted, but now what? And you also realize that the parts of you that were already puzzle pieces, those puzzle pieces split even more. And you realize that the healing that you previously used, right? So all the tools that you used before, nothing is working. Like at that point, I had a certificate. I'm not even going to go into all the certificates I had, but I'm just going to basically say that for sure, because my company is called Workout Around My Day, right? So I have a background in fitness and nutrition. And I've always defaulted to using food as medicine, fitness as medicine, prayer as medicine, and I had just gotten into using breath work as medicine, but I always use movement as medicine. And so while those things helped me to get to that point, it wasn't enough to get me over the discombobulation that happened afterwards. So I decided to try something else. I knew that underneath some of the problems in my marriage had something to do with our intimacy, my personal intimacy. I'm going to take responsibility for my portion in that, right? So I wanted to connect better and much deeper with myself, but I didn't even know what to do. We always grab books. So I started by grabbing books, right? So went to the Islamic tradition. And believe it or not, there's all these books in the Islamic tradition. Oops, this is not the Islamic tradition. But there's another one over here. Yeah, so this is like my personal go-to resource center right by my desk. So these 3 books is where I began. And when you really, really want something and you pray for it, things start coming to you because you make a clear path for those things to come to you. And so I met someone who was certified in Authentic Tibetan Tantra. And we, became friends. And so through conversations with her and becoming part of her community, I found out about the Institute. And so and I guess some of her teachings, she infused Tantra in it. And so it just so happened, like the spring of 2022, the Institute decided to do like a 6-week, just look and see, try it out. And I was so impacted by that initial 6 weeks just learning a new form of meditation, a new form of breath work. And I felt I had like a reaction to it. And I knew that it was doing something. And so I decided to start, to sign up. And so when I got back from Hawaii in July last year, I signed up for the certification program. So as you see, this is not like a weekend course. This is not a 6-week course. And a lot of people are confused when they hear me talking about Tantra because they're only familiar with Neo-Tantra, which is really a patriarchal version of Tantra. What I'm part of is a lineage-based, authentic tradition that goes back 17,000 years, beginning with the original Dakini. So I used a lot of words that you may not be even remotely familiar with. And if you want to know more, you know where I am. Reach out to me. And I want to tell you more about the impact that being part of this authentic Tibetan lineage-based tradition has had on my life. Now, again, for those of you who are divorced, you know what it's like. When you, after you get a divorce, there are a lot of things that are out of whack and out of place. And it takes years sometimes to be able to be civil and, and have everything within yourself, never mind with your ex-partner. I'm just going to use the word civil, be civil. And there's a lot of rage that comes up. There's a lot of disappointment, grief, annoyances, frustrations, resentment, sadness, a little bit of happiness, some joy, some gratitude that comes up. And to be honest, we don't know what to do with any of those emotions. Even right? I've had many monikers that I've selected over the years, one of them being the emotions opener. Even I wasn't ready for all the wave of all the thousands of emotions that came up for me. And so I know people love to read their books, and you've probably read the Atlas of or the Geography of Emotions. I can't remember the exact title of Brene Brown's new book. And she's identified, I think, 86 emotions. Well, come to find out through Authentic Tantra, there's apparently about 22,000 versions of anger. And there's about, there's like thousands and thousands of nuances of emotions that we have no access to, no understanding how to deal with. And I learned, first of all, that they exist, that I wasn't crazy, and how to deal with that within myself and heal. So I sit before you today, right, as the authentic, right, as the ultimate joy goddess, normalizing great sex. And sex begins within yourself. It begins within your own personal connection and understanding, deep understanding to yourself. And that's your spiritual self, your emotional self, your authentic self, and that radiates out, right? You're able to connect with others better. And so this is the gift that I've been given by choosing to say yes to myself and by choosing to enroll in the Authentic Tibetan Tantra Institute's program. So a couple of calls to action here. As you know, tonight the Free to Be show is going live at 8 p.m. Instead of Friday, because it'll be Friday at 10 a.m. in Australia for my guest. And we'll be talking about how to activate your inner, how to embrace, I guess, activate really, right? How to embrace your inner goddess and guru. So that's number one. That's free and available here on Facebook and on my YouTube channel, which is my name, not hard to find, Cordelia Gaffar. The second call to action, if you live anywhere near the Washington, D.C. area, and what I just said totally spoke to you, I got something for you. Next Saturday, I am doing an event, a one-day, 8-hour experience called For Your Ultimate Joy. I still have like 1 or 2 seats available, so free up your schedule. I don't care what you got going on, but if it spoke to you, it spoke to you for a reason. There are no coincidences. Free up your schedule and be there. And number 3, look within and be honest with yourself. Set aside whatever preconceived or conditioned ideas you have about what sex is and what sex is not, and understand that it is the ultimate connection to divinity. And if you struggle with having a better relationship with God, loving yourself, having a relationship with yourself, nurturing yourself, accepting compliments, accepting anything, thinking that you're worthy of something, consider my message of normalizing great sex. What I'm saying here is this is the way to transcend. So that's my story, and there'll be more, I'm sure, as things open up and continue to evolve for me. But I wanted to take some time today to let you know that healing is available to you, and there is an authentic tradition that was created by a Black woman from Africa 17,000 years ago, and we currently we can trace that lineage all the way back there to now. And so the Institute is the only government accredited institute that offers this program. It is also the only program in the world that offers you to get a master's and a PhD in holistic sexual healing. And it is also the only institute that's run by a woman who happens to be biracial, yes, half Black. So if this touched you, take action and share with another heart and another soul. And I'll see you later tonight. Until then, be free.